Here we go. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Joseph Miranda, broker owner, Miranda Executive Realty, here for our latest installment of our As the Broker. This is our elite training where we dive into some high level topics in the real estate field. Before we get too far into it, we're going to do a quick shameless plug for any agent that's watching that's not an MX agent that'd like to learn more. You can scan the QR code or check the messages or the comments, and there'll be a link there. For any agents that this may be a good training for, feel free to share this, please. And quick reminder before we get into it that I am a real estate broker, but that's where my area of expertise really kind of ends. I am not an attorney. I cannot give legal advice, financial advice, health advice. Really any advice besides real estate advice. So none of this is intended to be any type of advice except for maybe best practices for how I practice real estate. All right, and we're going to open this with one of my favorite quotes of all time. This is definitely one that I try to keep in the back of my mind as I go throughout my day. And there can be so much data and information. There's so much knowledge that transfers in the course of a day. And we can pack our minds with knowledge, and we can become professional students. We can go learn all types of things. You could, with the internet and now AI, you could pretty much probably do just about anything. But this quote will always ring true, that to know and not do is the same as not knowing. So to go out and learn something but not use the knowledge that you've learned, you're essentially going to get the exact same outcome as having not learned this piece of knowledge in the first place. So why learn it if you're not going to apply it? In my opinion, maybe you shouldn't, or maybe you took a course or a class or something and it wasn't what you thought it was going to be. So the information was not something that you actually could apply to your business. But if it is something that you could apply to your business, to not do it is the same as not knowing it in the first place. So, this goes to say, be careful what you're learning, right? If you're learning useless information, useless knowledge that you can't apply to any aspect or level of your business, then, why did you go to learn it in the first place? All right. So jumping into our training for today, don't just own the CRM, drive it to the business. Okay. This is probably one of the most important things that any real estate agent or probably salesperson in general can do. You have to use the CRM. You have to. And we're gonna talk a little bit about using a CRM, how it works and how it doesn't work. And we're trying to be a little bit more relatable, right? So all of the analogies that we use are actually going to go back to just like buying a car, owning a car, having a car, and how is that car going to be useful for you, right? So here's the first question that we'll ask you. Is your business running, or is it just parked, right? Is your CRM working for you, or is your CRM just sitting there? Right? Is your CRM just waiting for you to log into it one more time, right? So your CRM, a CRM, and it could be any CRM, doesn't matter. Well, we know what we use in this office, but you don't have to use the same CRM that we offer. Although we do try to offer the best technology for the agents, right? But it really is the vehicle that drives your business. It is literally the vehicle that drives your business, right? Imagine you purchase a Ferrari and you never take it out of the garage. right? You never start it up, you never go anywhere, you never take it anywhere, then it's never going to get you anywhere, right? Imagine you bought a Chevy or a Volvo or whatever kind of car, would be like a day-to-day driver, but you never use it. It's the same as having that knowledge and not using it. To have a car and not to drive it is the same as not having a car. To have a CRM and not to log into it is the same as not having a CRM, right? So the car, let's say, again, going back to this analogy here, the car being your business, right? Ask yourself which one of these kind of fits your business the most, right? Does your business move fast? Does it scale? Can you handle pressure? Are you able to manage lots of timelines all at the same time? Or do you find that your business kind of breaks down? By the time you get to somebody, they've already purchased, they've already sold, they've already kind of done their thing. You're flipping through your notebook or whatever system you have, and you go, oh my God, I was supposed to follow up with that person a month, 2, 3 months ago. And by the time you reach back out to them, they've already listed with somebody else. Or you looked them up in the MLS and you see that their house is on the market, right? Do you find yourself kind of, shuffling through the system that you have now for your lead and client management? Do you find yourself spending a lot of time looking and trying to organize yourself, right? Which one are you, right? Well, the biggest difference in this is going to be systems, right? Now, I'm not here to make you that. This is not a lesson on, making you a comprehensive user of a CRM. We're not, you can't become an expert overnight, especially when you have a CRM that has a lot of different features and functions to it. You take it one step at a time, right? These are AI generated driver's licenses. Don't worry, these are not actual people, but we did still cross out the information just in case AI happened to pull this from like a real place, right? But you always start, you get your learner's permit, right? Or maybe you get an ID first. You got to get a job, and you don't have time to learn to drive a car, so you just go get an ID. Then you get your, you go take the test, and you get your learner's permit, right? Then you go take the driving test, and then you get your driver's license, right? And then maybe later on, you get authorized to drive a motorcycle. Later on, you get authorized to drive a truck, right? But you don't go from a state issued ID straight into a CDL driving an 18-wheel semi truck. You normally learn on a smaller vehicle, right? And you want to kind of master the rules of the road. You want to master where the pedals are. You want to do that, right? So everything begins in steps. Everything begins in a progression. So, you start and you learn, right? So what's the first thing that you do, right? You get in the car. That's the very first thing you have to do. But just because you're in the car doesn't mean you're driving, right? If you never put the key in the ignition and you never turn it, then you never even turn the car on, right? It doesn't matter. It won't make a difference in your life. Again, having that car parked in your garage, not going anywhere, not starting it up, not doing anything. It's just sitting there, really, essentially decayed, right? And we pay for a lot of things. We pay for a lot of things. There's always the next latest, greatest lead system. There's always the next latest, greatest AI, right? There's always again, there's so much knowledge and information that comes at us every day, and we can't possibly use all of that information as quickly as it's coming towards us, right? But one thing that should be used every day is your CRM. Just like you use your car every day to get you from point A to point B, your CRM is going to be there to take your business from point A to point B, right? Never using your CRM is like having a car and you're just sitting in it. You have the keys. You have the key in your hand, but you never push start and you never start your car. You never turn the key and start your car. You're just sitting in there. Maybe you're not even sitting in it. Maybe you're just staring at it, Maybe you never even look at it and it's in the garage and you never go to the garage for literally any reason. So it's just sitting in the garage collecting dust. Not good use. Then why do you have it? Right? But let's say you do. Let's say you do want to use your car. Right? Well, what are some of the things that you need to do to ensure that your car is going to work? Well, number one, the first thing you have to do is make sure you have fuel in your car. Your car is not going to run without fuel. If you run out of gas, you're probably in a really bad situation, right? So what is the fuel of a CRM? Those are the leads. The leads are the things that fuel your business, right? You have to add fuel to your car in order for it to take you somewhere. You have to add leads to your CRM in order for it to have something to do something with. If you have a car with no fuel, it won't drive. If you have a CRM with no leads, it'll do nothing. It'll just sit there collecting dust, and it's fine, right? It's it's not physical dust, it's virtual dust, right? But it's there and it's waiting. But a car, you bought the car to drive it. You have the CRM to use it. Both of them should make your life easier. They shouldn't. They're not designed to complicate the system, right? So let's say you put fuel in the car, right? Step number one. So we have our sales process, right? Step number one is sourcing your leads. So, you have your car, you have your CRM, you have your fuel, your leads, right? Well, they go into what? They go into your CRM. Okay. Now, this right here, this is our sales process, right? SALES. This is literally your job as a real estate agent. These 5 steps, these 5 categories are your job. This is literally, I can't stress this enough. Every single day, if you wake up and you're a real estate agent, these are the only 5 things that matter to you. It's very simple and it's not easy. Now, these are broad strokes, right? Then there's a lot of smaller strokes in between. Sourcing leads, you might say, well, how do I source leads? There's a million different ways to do it. Automation and follow up. Well, how do you follow up? What are the automation tools that they're using? There's a million different ways to do it. Locking your contracts, writing contracts, that's not real. There's not a million ways to do it. You just got to write contracts. In the state of Florida, actually everywhere now, there's 2 contracts that need to be written. There's the first one, which is your exclusive, and there's your second one, which is your sales contract, right? So, lock appointments, not contracts. Sorry, I skipped ahead. Locking appointments, that's the only number that matters. Okay, let me go back. Source leads, automate follow-up, lock appointments. The only metric that you look at that matters is how many appointments are you going on every single day. It's the only one that matters. Now, you can backtrack that metric and you say, okay, how many leads do I need in my system? And how many dials do I have to make? And how many contacts out of those dials do I have to make, right? And how many contacts till I get to my appointment? That's great, right? And then how many appointments to the contract? How many contracts till a closing, right? That's how it works. But the metric that you really want to pay attention to is lock your appointments, right? So sourcing your leads, you can get leads anywhere. There's leads all over the place. If somebody has a home, they have a name, an address, and an email, phone number, that's a lead. You can get them anywhere. You can literally get them anywhere. Automation and follow-up, this is where your CRM comes in and does these things for you. But if you never get an appointment, then it never matters. It doesn't matter. The number that is going to be an indicator of your success or failure in your daily activities is how many appointments are you going on a daily basis. That's the number right there. Look at your appointments. If you're bringing in 1,000 leads a day and you're following up, 5 hours a day, you're on the phone just doing follow up, and after a month you haven't had any appointments, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. right? Your work should lead to your appointments. Now, from the appointments, it's skill. It's skill, right? Up until you get to the appointment, short of just having some skills on the phone, you may not need a whole lot of skill. But once you get to that appointment, if you want to get the listing contract or you want the exclusive buyer, you're going to have to show some skill and value, right? I can't stress it enough. This is such a huge thing that so many people miss it, and because it's so simple. It's the simplest thing in the entire world that this is your job, these 5 steps right here. If you're not doing these every day, then you might, I don't know, I mean, how do you make a living, right? Source leads, automate follow-up, that goes in your CRM, lock appointments, that takes you out of, that's when you've driven your car and you've arrived. You get out, you go into, you go to the house, wherever that appointment is. You use a little bit of skill and you write the contracts. You use a little more skill and you get the next contract, right? Then you use a transaction coordinator or you do it yourself, but you get it closed, and that's when you get paid. You can't skip these steps. None of these steps can be skipped unless somehow you can just source a lead and go, straight to the appointment. But I imagine even at that point, you're going to still have some level of follow-up, right? There's some level of something that needs to happen inside there. This is the most important slide you'll ever see in your life as a real estate agent. This right here. And if you can internalize these, then you're going to know exactly what happens, exactly what's going to happen in your business. You'll figure out, okay, how many leads do I need, to make so many contacts, how many contacts until I get to the appointment, how many appointments before a contract, how many contracts until I get to closing. That's your numbers. But appointments are the only thing that matters. It's the number one indicator of your success or failure is how many appointments. You have 50 million leads in your system, but you got 0 appointments. Those leads, I don't know, they're not being worked proper, right? Maybe there's no automations. Maybe there's no follow-up, right? What's wrong? A lot of leads having a lot of leads in your system is not an indicator of success. Sitting on the phone all day, follow up doesn't mean you're going to be successful. Going on appointments every single day, yeah, that's where it's at. It's in the appointments every single day, because without an appointment, you don't really have an opportunity to write a contract. And without a contract, you don't have an opportunity to get to the closing table. It starts with appointments. Everything leads into the appointments. Everything comes out of the appointment. It's right there. It's at the center of your business, right? So let's say you're driving, right? You're driving. And you're in the car. You're in your CRM. You've got all, you've got all the leads in there. You never follow up. You're out of gas. You never follow up. What was the purpose of generating the lead to decide that, well, I'm not going to follow up? I'm just going to call them one time. They didn't answer. I've called them twice. They didn't answer. Right? I sent them a text message. They didn't respond. Well, now you're just what? You're burning fuel. You're just sitting there idling. Like fuel is literally just, it's just burning. You're burning leads. Regardless of the quality of that lead and at the stage that that lead is in, to have a lead in your system and you decide that they're not worth follow-up, then that's literally, you just burn the lead. It's like fuel. You just burn the fuel. Maybe, maybe it's in your car. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But if you're not, to not follow up, it's equivalent to running out of gas in the middle of 95. Not gonna. How can you do anything, right? In your car, right? Your branding, your exposure, having people see you, having people look at you, having getting the eyes on your business, right? Wrapping your car, same thing, right? That's your marketing. The marketing is the CRM, right? So you have a car, you need insurance. You got to make sure that in this car, if something is going to go wrong, that you're covered, right? Number one, in our CRM, there's no do not call phone numbers in there. If there's a phone number, a name, whatever in there, There's none that are in there. Now, at least not at the time that they went inside there. Or they've all asked to be reached out to. Right? So you've got to ensure that when you're doing things, that you're protected, that you're covered. Right? Your CRM is going to track your communications. We never delete a lead from from the CRM. Not because, even if they say, don't call me, don't email me, don't text me, don't look at me, don't solicit at my door, never come near me. It gets archived. And we take notes along the way so that if later on that person poses an issue to us, we can come back and say, oh, no, look here, here's what you told us to do, and here's what we did. Right? Your CRM is going to keep you organized. There's no better organization for a contact, for a lead, than your CRM. There's literally nothing better. It's going to retain your documents, all of your documents. 10 years from now, the customer reaches out and they say, hey, I can't find my, I don't know, whatever, my disclosure that I gave when we listed my place. Do you have it? Yeah, I do. It's right here. I can't find my settlement document that, my settlement statement when I sold my place. Do you have it? Yeah, it's here. Right? We're storing everything inside the CRM. Literally everything. It should hold everything. It should hold everything. The analogy prior to your CRM being a car is it's your central command. It tells you everything you need to know. It tells you everything you need to do. Right? But you have to keep up with it. You have to maintain it. You have to maintain your car, right? You have to maintain your CRM because again, if you're just drive your car, you put miles on it and you never do anything to it, right? It's the same as being in your CRM, never doing anything to your CRM. You've got to update it. You have to improve yourself, right? You yourself have to continue to improve. We give you the templates on what to do and how to do it, how we do it. Our scripts, the scripts that work for me, the scripts that work for, those who have created them in the office. But that doesn't mean that you don't customize these things and make them yours, right? Campaigns, all the new features that are happening probably every month with our CRM. There's constantly, they're releasing updates and new features and AI and all of these things, right? And at the end of the day, that bold print in yellow, this is going to hold true. This is going to stand true. This is any business. A real estate agent is a business. We've discussed that, right? But if you don't adapt to the changes that happen in the market, it's adapt or die. It's literally what it is. Those who don't adapt to the changes and the way that things change in real estate or in any business, they're the ones that go away. Right? It's the Netflix versus Blockbuster analogy that you've heard a million times, right? Like that's what it is. You have to adapt to whatever changes are happening in the business, or sooner or later your business will go away. The CRM helps you to adapt, right? And how do you do it? Well, you've got to look for the warning signs. You've got to look for the indicator. Just like a car, if you go into your CRM, you're going to see where the warning lights are, where the warning signs are, right? And you don't want to wait until your business is failing to go into the CRM. I mean, you can. Plenty of people do, right? You don't log into the CRM until there's just not enough business there, and then you say, oh, okay, well, now I better get into my CRM. I guess it's better than nothing, but it's better really to maintain your CRM just like you would maintain your car as you go along so that you don't have that breakdown. If you're in your CRM every single day and you're maintaining your CRM every single day, just like if you're maintaining your car whenever it needs it, you put air in the tires when it needs it, you top the oil off, you do all these things to make sure that, you change the air filter. You do these things regularly, your car is going to always run optimal. Same thing with the CRM. If you're constantly reviewing the systems, looking at your database, cleaning your contact list, right? Improving, getting better, then your CRM will always be running optimal. But if you begin to neglect it, and what usually ends up happening is we get really busy, because what we've been doing gets us really busy, really busy. So busy that it doesn't even matter if we keep up with anything, right? And it feels like we're so busy, and it feels like this busyness will never go away. Like we're just always going to be this busy because it's so stressful in that moment. If you've ever had too much business, then you know what I'm talking about. I've had too much business. I've had way too much business, and it's very difficult to get into the CRM when you have too much business. In fact, psychologically, our minds tell us that maybe we don't need to go back into the CRM because there's so many people that are just calling us out of nowhere to give us business, to buy a home, to sell a home, to do whatever. But it, just like everything else, it comes to an end. It comes to an end, and then all of a sudden we're wondering, our business dries up and it goes cold. We wonder, well, where's our next deal going to come from? Had we somehow been able to maintain the CRM in that, then our business wouldn't stall out, right? Every day. Do you still use paper systems? Is your CRM Excel or Google Sheets? Do you have a dry erase board where you just write your leads and you look at it every day and you say, here's my leads? Literally a horse and buggy. That is such an old school way to run a business, right? We're talking about a Ferrari. We are talking about the CRM that does everything that you need it to do, that has all of the technology that you need, that helps you set up your automations, and to not drive the Ferrari, right? To not use the top of the line CRM and use a paper system, use your phone for contacts, use a spreadsheet to organize, to use these. I mean, this is antiquated technology, guys. This is old technology. Paper and pen, I mean, there's still a place for it. I put my tasks and, some of my daily stuff on a piece of paper, my reminders for the day. But I could never run my business off of paper and pen. Could never run my business with using an Excel tracker, right, or Excel spreadsheet. I couldn't do it. Stuff would fall between the cracks and I would lose it, because that's like being in a horse and buggy. Using a CRM is an automatic upgrade in your business, and it's a lot, right? If somebody buys their first Ferrari, they've probably got to learn certain things about it, right? It's not like driving a Chevy, right? It's going to be a very, very different driving experience, right? It's the same thing going from driving that horse and buggy or going from an Excel spreadsheet over to a CRM. It's going to be a lot to learn, but you learn it and you use it. You learn it and you use it. You learn it and you use it, and you go slowly while you're doing it. But don't stay stuck. Don't stay stuck in your horse and buggy, because the horse and buggy is going to take you a long time to get you where you want to go. And it's not going to be as comfortable, and it's not as easy. It's probably going to be a lot more work using the old horse and buggy system rather than upgrading and taking yourself to a car. Let's say it's not a Ferrari. Well, what about a Tesla, right? You need campaigns, but your CRM should be smart. Your CRM should have intelligence, right? And just like a Tesla, right, there should be certain things that are built inside of it, right? You need the smart campaigns. You need stuff that's just automatic, like just triggers, right? If this, then this type of triggers, so that whenever somebody does this action, you don't have to go in and do this next action manually. It automatically does this next action for you. What about when a customer re-engages with you and you're at the beach with your family on, Memorial Day? Don't you want something to automatically just respond to that customer? right? Do you want something that tracks behavior, right? It's literally about working smarter and not working harder. I admit, like I alluded to before, there is a learning curve with the CRM. There's a learning curve with the CRM, just like any new thing that you do. But if you embrace a CRM, your business, the results will show up in your business. The results will be there, right? What about past clients? How do you manage your past clients? Where do they go? You know, the thing about business, and probably one of the biggest failures in a lot of businesses, not that they fail, but just a failure in the business, is we spend so much time, so much money, so many resources trying to get a customer, just to get one customer, right? To get that one appointment that leads to the, to the contracts that leads to closing. And then once that transaction is done, we can lose contact and lose track of that past client. But what if you did it differently, right? What if you stayed connected with that customer? Has anybody ever had a customer that's, you've reached out or you looked up, just randomly you come across their info on a random notebook that, you probably had some notes on with their name, and you say, I wonder whatever happened to them. And you find out that they sold the house with somebody else. Or you look on social media and you see that they bought a house with somebody else because you didn't stay connected. It's because you didn't stay connected. Most people are probably guilty of this. You spent so much time, resources, effort, money, what you threw everything you had at getting that customer one time, and then when the transaction closed, the customer went by the wayside, completely forgot about them. And maybe they took it personal, right? Like, you reached out to them and you followed up and you kept in touch with them all the way through until they closed, and then all of a sudden, boom, vanished, gone, disappeared, never to be seen again. I mean, would you go back to that business that treated you that way? You can't blame them. Certainly can't blame them, right? Your past clients should be repeat clients. They should be clients for life. How do you do that? You don't keep a client for life by giving them good service. You keep a client for life by keeping in touch with them. They should refer you business. Do they know to refer you business? Right? A client for life takes work, but it doesn't all have to be done by you. The work can be in the CRM, right? It can be completely automated. You can completely automate with them. What about check-ins? Like, what if, every 9 months or every 12 months or whatever frequency you want, a random text message just went out. You didn't even know it went out. And what if you scheduled those for the next 10 years? One a year. So you schedule 10 text messages. It can be done. Just checking in. How's things going, right? Birthdays, home anniversaries. Today's, your 1 year anniversary. How's the home been? How's things been going? All of this can be automated. It can be automated. You don't have to pick up the phone and call or text or email a past client. Your CRM will do it for you. Well, it won't call them for you, but it'll text them. It'll email them for you. It'll check in on them. Imagine just one contact per year with your past client instead of none. Might they remember you then? I think probably, but a lot of people don't. Spend so much time, resources, energy trying to get the client to just lose them after that. Now you've got another agent that swoops in. They just swoop in because you didn't keep in touch. You gave them amazing service. They had an amazing experience. They loved everything about working with you, but you never reached out again. Why would they wait for you? Maybe they will. I don't know. Maybe they won't, right? So we've been in a Ferrari. We've been in a Been in a Tesla, right? Well, what about a bus, right? Pretty soon, you get so many customers. You're going to have so many people in your database. You're going to be working with so many people. They're not going to fit in your Ferrari. So you've got to upgrade your Ferrari to a Ferrari bus. Probably the ugliest bus I've ever seen in my life. But maybe in real life it would be cool. I don't know. We'll see, right? But you've got all these people, right? So let's use this bus analogy for a moment, right? How does a bus work? A bus works on a route, right? A bus works in a loop. And a bus comes by and it comes to its first stop, customer gets on. Comes to the second stop, third stop, fourth stop, right? Customers getting on, right? And it gets to the fifth stop and a couple customers get off, maybe one gets on, right? But it's working in a loop, which means every customer has the potential to get the exact same experience as the customer that was there before them. Because it's what? It's already, it's basically an automation. And a bus route will tell you, well, it's going to, this bus is going to be here at 3:15. The next one will be here at 3:45, right? The next one at 4:15. The next one at 4:45. And they're always going to work like that, like clockwork, right? We can't do that. We can't do that with our business because we have way more customers than probably would even fit on a bus. So we have way more leads than would ever fit on a bus, right? But if we operate our business like a bus driver would operate, right? If we're the bus driver and we're picking up passengers and we're letting them off, right? Letting them off, meaning that they've closed, but we're going to come back by them again, right? We're that stop that we let the customer off on, the time when that customer had that closing. We're going to come back around. Customer's not there. Come back around. Customer's not there. Come back around. Maybe you got a referral. They weren't the customer, but the customer introduced somebody else who got on your bus. Took them to their destination, got them off. Now you got two customers that just got off, right? And the bus just keeps driving by. It keeps driving by. They don't forget about the bus because they see the bus. They just don't need it right now. They don't need you right now. So maybe they're not going to hail you down or, flag you down, but they see the bus driving by and they know that the bus is still in business. But when they need you or they know somebody that needs you, they're going to make sure that that person gets on your bus. These are what we call raving fans. You don't want just customers. You don't want just clients. You want raving fans. You want people that everywhere they go, every time they hear the need for a real estate agent to buy, sell, rent, invest, it doesn't matter, a roof over their head, they're going to think about who? They're going to think about you, because that bus is working in that loop over and over and over. Oh, I don't have his phone number. Let me go find it. He just sent me an email 4 days ago, and I know that his phone number is in the email signature. Let me forward this email over to you. That's it. Repeat riders and loyal clients. You've got to stay visible to get them. You've got to be visible. And unless you really want to, I don't think you can keep up with it, honestly, because your CRM should have thousands of leads in it. Your CRM, not the company's CRM, your CRM should have thousands of leads inside it. If your CRM is going to be effective, you need thousands of leads inside. How can you possibly manage thousands of leads on a regular basis? You cannot. You cannot. You have to manage your CRM to help you manage those thousands of leads. You have to manage your CRM to help you manage those thousands of leads. There is no top producer that I know, and I don't think it exists. Maybe it does, but I don't know any top producer that doesn't work inside a CRM. If you have a team, it's that much more important. If you have a goal to have a team, you definitely need to work inside a CRM. And your entire team will need to work inside the same CRM that you're working in. It's going to be very difficult to manage that a high number of leads without some sort of automation happening for you, without stuff already being created for you, right? So what do we consider reckless driving? Right? What is reckless driving? Well, it's driving a giant car on a road that makes no sense. I'm just kidding. But what happens? Right? It causes failure. It causes an accident. It causes things to fall apart. It causes things to not work the way that they should work, right? Speed. Somebody emails you, texts you, calls you. You got to get to that lead quickly. You've got to get to that lead quickly. And if you can't, then your CRM should. Timing. Keeping up with your follow-ups. Making sure I'll call you in a week. I'll call you in a month. I'll call you in 2 months. Making sure you have that in your CRM to do it. Focus, because it does take work. The nice thing, if you have the right CRM, you really only need one system. There's a lot of CRMs that only do part of the work, and you've got to tie in all of these other companies, this other software in order to be able to do everything. But if you have a powerful CRM, if your CRM is a Ferrari, then you only need one. That's all you need. It will do everything for you. And what you should do inside the CRM is learn one thing at a time. Learn one thing at a time. And it should be just basic. Start with the basic. It doesn't matter, right? You're starting with your learner's permit. That means, you're not jumping on to, into a NASCAR race. You're not going into a street race. You're not learning how to drift and, do all this crazy stuff. You're just doing the most simple, basic things. You're starting the car. You're going to put it in drive, and you're just going to drive it slowly. Start slowly. Log in every day. Log in every day. Look at your tasks, and then learn what the CRM can do slowly. Right? If you're not sure, there's always the lobby. Right? You can always pop in. You can always come to the lobby. Right? And if the lobby's closed, well, there's plenty of tools. There's plenty of resources out there that can help you. There's so much in the office that can help you. Number one, agent resources. Agent resources is a massive knowledge base. There is a massive knowledge base inside agent resources. And if you go in there and you just hit the search feature with whatever you're looking for, there's probably something in there for you. Number two, there's training directly in the CRM. Right there inside the CRM, they have a massive knowledge base as well. Number three are these videos. I mean, we've been doing these for years. We've got years worth of Ask the Broker videos. There's so much. There's probably 2 or 3 different trainings on a CRM alone. And then you've got your ecosystem, the people, me, the admins, WhatsApp. Right? You've probably got some phone numbers and contacts that you use, but really there's no reason to be stuck in anything, especially in a CRM, because a CRM is real estate 101. A CRM is your business, or your business is inside a CRM, or it should be, unless you're still driving a horse and buggy. And I think some are, right? So what are you going to do with all this, right? We didn't really get into any tips and tricks. We didn't tell you what you must do, or what you must not do necessarily, right? The purpose of this training is to tell you to use a CRM. If you don't like the Office CRM, that's okay, right? But number one, right, starting at the foundation is just start. It's to start. You could start right now. You can start tomorrow. It doesn't matter. The whole thing is that you got to start. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Get in, log in, look at it, click around. Since Ralph, nobody else has ever wrecked the internet. Nobody else. It's just been Ralph. He's the only one that's ever wrecked the internet. So you're not going to break it. You have to worry about it, right? And then start adding leads. Our company policy if an agent, you never have to worry about us working your leads. If you ever leave and decide you want to go to another brokerage, you take all your leads with you. We archive all of that. Never gets touched, never gets anything. We have way too many leads in our system that we just don't need more leads to work. That's just not something that we need. Put your leads in there. Your sphere, your circle of influence, right? The people in your networking groups, the people, your coworkers if you have a part-time job, your past coworkers if you used to have a part-time job, your family, the members of your church, anybody. If they have a name, a home, or they need a home, address, email, phone number, then you've got everything you need, right? Set them up in a campaign, right? But once it's going, you got to remember you have to maintain it. Should log in every day, every single day. You should log into your CRM because that's your business. That's like clocking in. If you don't log into your CRM, then you didn't clock in for the day. Because if you're doing it right, there should be tasks every day that you'll need to do in your CRM. And as you log in every day, you're going to become more comfortable with it. And you're going to say, oh, what does this do? What does this do? And what you'll see is that the CRM that we provide really is a Ferrari of a CRM. It really, truly is a Ferrari of a CRM. I spend a lot of money on this CRM. Spend a lot of money putting leads into there. Like, there's a lot of money that goes out to just make this machine run. And it's right there ready for you to use. It's mom and dad's Ferrari. Go drive mom and dad's Ferrari. Take mom and dad's leads. That's fine, right? Crash it. Who cares? You didn't pay for it. Who cares? Take a lead, call it, and then blow it, right? Just mess up, make a mistake on a lead. Who cares? It's in the CRM. It's just in there. It doesn't even matter, right? But make sure, at some point when you're doing it that you do have a purpose. Why am I in the CRM? I'm going to go find some leads. I'm going to go find a contact. I'm going to go find somebody that I can set an appointment with. They're in there. They're in there. I don't know how many leads we have in there now. Some of them are archived. Some of them, they're all over the place. I know total there's over 100,000. I don't think there's access to 100,000 because, we get a lot of stops and we get, all this. So I'd say there's maybe 60, 70,000 leads in there that could be worked. Take a 10 leads a day challenge. What is a 10 leads a day challenge? It's exactly that. You go in and you grab 10 leads. Every single day, you grab 10 leads and you set them up in your campaign, 10 leads a day challenge. And what that is designed to do is it's designed to teach you how to use the CRM with the minimum basic features. That's it. You put your own lead in there, that could be one of the 10. Put it in a 10 leads a day challenge, and that's going to show you how we set up a lead when we set them up from the office. There's way more. There's way more that this CRM will do, but at least use the basics. And if you don't want to use our CRM, that's okay, but just use a CRM. Doesn't matter which one you use. The only thing that matters is that you use it. And when you start using it, no matter how busy you get, keep doing the things that got you to where you are, right? You can't get so busy that you forget how you got to where you are. But it's all about the CRM. And if you call a lead and they're not responsive or the conversation didn't go the way that you wanted it to, keep the lead. Don't put it back in the pond. Keep the lead. They can still get the automations. Maybe you can call them once a year, twice a year, right? It doesn't really matter. But you want the leads in your system. The more leads you have, the higher likelihood you have that you're going to get a deal out of that system. If you have 10 leads, you got a 1 in 10 chance. If you've got 1 million leads, you've got a lot more chances, right? All right, so that was my soapbox. I hope you guys found some value out of this. If you don't know by now, it's really important that you use a CRM. It is the most important thing that you can do for your real estate business. A CRM, you should log into it every single day. If you're doing just fine in your business and you don't need more business, you should still use a CRM, because someday you're going to wish you had more business. The only way to ensure that you're going to get more business is to continue to get leads and continue to track those leads and follow up with those leads until they convert into a customer. Right? It's a numbers game. We know, right? How many no's until you get to the yes, right? I know that I need 10 no's to get to one yes. Like, I mean, it's like these cliche sayings, they're cliche for a reason. They're cliche for a reason, but if you need to hear no 10 times before you hear yes, then you need to have all of your no's in one place. And that should be in your CRM. Should absolutely be in your CRM. You want to do more business. I guarantee you, if you use your CRM and you use it properly, it will lead to you getting more business. And you may not relate them. You might say, oh, well, I would have gotten that anyway, but maybe you wouldn't have, right? Who's really to say? Use a CRM and you'll see the difference. All right, off of my soapbox now. Anybody have any questions or comments, thoughts, opinions? Am I wrong? No. Anybody not using a CRM going to start using a CRM right now?
Hi guys. I just started like really getting into it, and the more I work on it, the more I discover things that I'm like, holy shit, this is just really great to work with. Get more leads that I could work with or funnel into our free website, right? That Bold Trail provides us, or Joe provide us. It's amazing, guys. At least try it and see how you like it. But if you're not working with with a buyer, seller, or anyone, you have nothing to lose. But possibly gain. You're at least giving yourself 50-50 chance of working with someone, because if we're not working on anything, we have no business. We have no future in our business. At least working with Bold Trail and the pool, the thousands of leads that it provides us, at least we have some kind of chance to work with someone. So I would highly recommend at least try it and see how you like it, or at least give an hour or two of your time to work on those leads, because otherwise you have no one.
Yes, thank you. And one last thing, there's no such thing as a bad lead. The only time you would have a bad lead is if it's the wrong name, wrong email, wrong phone number, wrong address. If everything is incorrect, then yes, it's a bad lead. But if you have accurate information, then it's a lead, right? And what's going to determine if it's good or bad is your level of skill and the timing with which you're communicating with the lead. We all know that cycles of life happen. From when you're young and you're renting an apartment and first get married and, buy your first house, have your first kid, have your second kid, have your third kid, right? The kids empty nesting, moving out, right? To, going into a retirement home, retirement facility, or, whatever it is. All of those moments in our lives are times when we might need to change our home from renter to owner to, to 3-bedroom house to, to 6-bedroom house or whatever it is, and back down to, a 1-bedroom condo. And then all of a sudden, somebody dies and you got to sell that little 1-bedroom condo, right? Like, these are all life cycles. Everybody that you talk to is going to go through some, if not all, of these same life cycles. So one thing that I did when I first started in real estate, because I was broke, I would call random neighborhoods. I would literally just choose a neighborhood and I'd draw a polygon around that neighborhood. And my script was, hey, this is Joe Miranda with, well, wasn't MX Realty at the time, but This is Joe Miranda, local real estate agent. I'm just calling to see if you're thinking about selling your house at some point in the near future. No. Okay. How about the next year? You get all kinds of answers with that. Well, a year is the near future, or, you know, whatever, take me out feet first, like whatever they say, right? Okay, hang up. But I literally got valid leads. I've gotten listings calling random people that didn't fill out an online form, that their house didn't expire on the MLS. They're not trying to sell it for sale by owner. Like, this was just a random person. I had their name, address, and phone number, and I would just call them. Are you thinking about selling in the near future? Well, I'm thinking about maybe, you know, right? Put them into a follow-up program, follow up, get the listing. Because nobody else is talking to them. Those are not bad leads. It's just a lead is just a lead. That's all it is. It's nothing more and it's nothing less. But I guarantee you that person that you're on the phone with is going to have some life circumstance happen at some stage of their life, and they're going to need to change homes. They changed jobs. They got relocated somewhere else. Mom and dad moved in. Like, mom and dad moved out. Mom and dad died. They need to sell mom and dad's house. Like, whatever it is, there's a life circumstance that's coming, and it's probably coming in the next decade, right, for these people. So if you keep in touch with them, you don't have to call them every week, every month. You call them once a year. Keep them in there. Drip some emails on them. Drip some text messages over to them, right? If you do that, you're going to find business and more business and more business and more business. Don't ever say these leads are bad. This is a bad lead. There's no such thing. Every lead, however that phone call ends, is going to, if I spoke to them and I know that's the right name, address, email, phone number, I'm locking that lead into my CRM. I'm going to schedule them for a follow-up. They say, no, I'm never going to sell this house. I'm going to call you back in 2 years, dude. Right? My CRM is going to remind me to call you back in 2 years. And in the meanwhile, you're going to be receiving my emails. You're going to be, you know, you might get a text message from me out every now and then, right? You're going to get something from me from time to time, because I know that someday your life circumstance is going to change. I've told the stories about these random phone calls that I get just from leaving a voicemail on an answering machine, right? Like, the more you work in your CRM, the more contacts that you make, the more opportunity that you're opening up for yourself to be the person, to find the person that's looking for your services. But if you're not doing it, then you're never going to have that opportunity, right? If you're just waiting for business to come to you, then you're reactive. However the market is what the market is. Right? It is what it is. When I was selling real estate full time, without fail, if my business got slow, the first thing I did is I go into my CRM, and if I didn't have an appointment, I was on the phones all day to set an appointment. Every single day. Every single day. What else do you have to do? If you go back to the sales process and you know that locking the appointment, right, is your goal, then you know that you got it. Then the step before that is follow up and automations, right? You need to do your follow up and you need to do your automations every single day. If you're not going on appointments every day, then you need to work on your follow up and automation every single day, every day, every day, every day. This is our business. This is what we signed up for, right? Unless you're reactive and you wait for business to come to you. But I can tell you, even in the worst markets, there's agents out there having their best years. And it's because of these things. When you put the work in now, 6 months from now, no matter what's happening in the market, you're going to have customers. And if you keep working through that, 6 months after that, you're going to continue to have customers. And if you keep working through that, 6 months after that, you're going to have customers. Your business will not dry up. You won't have those moments where you feel like I can't do real estate anymore. You always go back to automations and follow-up. Always, always, always automations and follow-up. If you've got valid information, then that's a good lead. And if you didn't get the business, it's because you need to work on your skills, right? Just because you didn't get the business doesn't mean it's a bad lead. It meant that you didn't have the skills to do it. And if they're not going to sell, period, then nobody's going to get it, right? That's just bad timing. But they're going out in a body bag someday, and somebody's going to need to sell that house. Might as well be you, right? But you've got to keep in touch. You've got to keep in touch. And the basic features of a CRM is all about just keeping in touch with people, right? Now, ours goes far beyond the basic features, which you should be using. There's a lot of ways to generate. You want to generate your own leads? Our CRM has ways to generate your own leads. You can go out and you can get your own leads with this CRM. But the leads are already there. We just need people to do the automation and follow up. So, all right, everybody, I'm done taking all of your time. Hopefully next week you will join us again for our roundtable mastermind. These are sessions. They're open for everybody. We talk about what anybody wants to talk about. So please bring some topics, bring some stuff for us to talk about. Some victories, some areas where you're stuck. Maybe you went to a training that taught you something super helpful. Doesn't matter. We talk about whatever everybody else wants to talk about. And then our next Ask the Broker will be on June 9th. And then June 16th is going to be our next in-person Beyond Real Estate. This is where we're going to have a title company, and then a financial advisor is going to come in here, or not here, but they're going to be buying lunch, hosting the location to teach you about their jobs. This is going to be, it's lunch and learn, so you're going to be there to learn. If you don't learn if they're not teaching you what you want to learn, there is plenty of time for questions and answers. We do this for the agents of the office, so we really like it if you guys attend. Even if you don't need to learn about title or finance, you can always you could always come by and just eat some free lunch, if nothing else. So, all right, well, that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you being here. Hopefully this was helpful. If you're still kind of lost on how to get started in the CRM, just pop into the lobby. We'll be happy to help you. We'll get you set up. We'll get you started. And then we'll show you where you need to go from there. So appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much. And get in your CRM. Go find some business, guys. Take care.